What is up, everyone? I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And I am ND Sean 45.
And together we are the two Irish brothers. Joining us in a very special episode is George Bashura and Lisa Kelly. So without further ado, those two.
Hey!
All right, now first off, we'll go with each of you one by one. We'll start with George. Why don't you let everyone know who it is that you are and what you do?
My name is George Bashura. I'm the editor of Shakedown of Thunder Sports. I live about 15 minutes from the stadium, so it's very convenient to get to the stadium and also cover all the other sports that are on campus.
And Lisa, next for you.
I am Lisa Kelly. I am a Notre Dame grad, class of 93. I'm a contributing writer on One Foot Down, the Notre Dame site for SB Nation. I'm a 3-time published author. I have a book series called Echoes from Notre Dame, and I've got about 2 or 3 more books in the works right now, so very busy.
Very nice.
And let's not forget, you do make a cameo at the beginning of each one of our episodes.
I do.
Nobody else has sent us their intros yet, except for our buddy Keith.
Send it to you tonight.
All right.
So, all right. So, just to get things started, just to get a nice little smooth pace going on here, just asking both of you, with all the big news that's been going on, what were your guys' initial thoughts when the Big Ten and the Pac-12 announced that they were, and I don't want to say doing away with football because it sounds like they are trying to move to the spring, but what are your guys' thoughts when you heard that they were suspending their football seasons?
I'll go first.
Ladies first.
Absolutely.
It just makes a lot of sense to me, all the conferences that went to a conference-only schedule. And so it was a little surprising to see. I mean, I know there's been a lot of problems on the West Coast, so the Pac has that to deal with as well. But super surprised to see the Big Ten just cancel and fold altogether.
I guess even inside the Big Ten, I guess there's some controversy amongst the different teams, right? About, well, we really wanted to play, but we're not on the same page as a conference. So I was actually quite surprised to see the fallout after there was an announcement there was going to be no football, for the fall. So it's very interesting. But even more so, I personally don't think that spring ball is going to work either. You're going to find that your seniors are more interested in thinking about the draft and prepping the ones that are going to go to the next level. So it's going to cause a bigger problem.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know how you could possibly play a spring football season and then follow up with a fall football season. Right. It seems like that would be detrimental to their health and well-being.
Well, that is one ridiculous workload. I mean, you're finishing up let's say it happens. You finish up a season in the spring, then you got to turn right around, get to the off-season workouts, whatever off-season you might have, which is not much. And then, and then you got to go through the motions again, and that is I just can't see that happening. That's asking way too much out of a student athlete.
Yeah.
And that's not even counting the national title. I mean, if you get there, if they even play it. I mean, so and you get a bye week in there too. So it's technically 13 weeks as opposed to 12. So it's
crazy.
I mean, you get done in the middle of June, basically. If you started in March.
Why postpone it to the spring? What's the difference between the fall and the spring?
Well, exactly. I mean,
to me, it's let's be honest. Let's do the numbers. It's about making up revenue, right?
Right. Well, and the other thing that I think a lot of people don't consider is now you're going to have spring sports interfering with your revenue. So you're going to have college basketball on at that point because they said they would push the season back if they had to, but they were going to have a season according to the NCAA. So what? You're going to have college football and college basketball at the same time? I mean, the revenue is going to be all divided because you're not going to have viewership like you do during college football season when it's basketball.
And I mean, granted, they kind of do coincide anyway, but not much.
No, there's only like a month, maybe two, depending on the year, where they're kind of together. So nice.
The best part of basketball is March, so by then you don't have any conflict. But if you have spring football, you totally would.
Right, because you'd be starting in March.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's what they've done here in Illinois for high school. We're starting in March for high school football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
there's a phrase that was some used by some folks in politics some years ago. It becomes a little bit about fuzzy man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. But also, speaking of the spring, what makes them think that things are going to be any better in the spring? I mean, it was just earlier this spring in 2020 when COVID-19 kicked off, and it, really took effect on everything.
Yeah, I think it's better to do it now, right, and push through it, because I think potentially it could get a lot worse in the winter. So
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, things are traveling like crazy in the winter.
Well,
it's kind of what's
flu season. I mean, so.
But think about what's going on in the University of Notre Dame campus right now. What's the controversy? The students are saying it's more about the student athlete than it is the student.
Right.
So about testing and all this other stuff. You don't want that animosity on your campus.
No,
because if your university has stood by the model, their students first before their student athletes, you can't change that shift in testing procedures either.
But the students can't say that and not follow the rules either. I mean, they're throwing off campus parties. So if the students had towed the line, there wouldn't be a problem right now at all.
Right.
And I get, they're 18 to 22-year-olds, right? They're going to make dumb decisions and they think they're invincible. We all did at that age, but I mean, you got to play by the rules here. If we want things to move forward as normal as possible, got to follow the rules.
And also, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I did a separate live stream on my own not too long ago, and I had one of my longtime followers. He's this young kid who's just starting college this year. He's going, I forget to which school in North Carolina, to play baseball. And he basically didn't like me saying, follow the rules. And his reason was like, well, I'm young and I want to get the college experience, and I don't want to be the only loser that's sitting in his dorm while everybody else is out partying, so I'm not going to listen to it. And I'm like, I understand where you're coming from. We're only that age once. You want to get the college experience of, parties and, the frat stuff and the usual things. But these are unusual times that we're living in. You got to take that into consideration, even as a young person.
Well, and you have 4 years to do that. So you have 1 year that's different, right? That's going to be something that you're going to look back on and say, oh, I was a freshman in 2020. We had a very unique situation. Right. There's plenty of time to party.
Or maybe even half a year. You know what I'm trying to say? You nip it in the bud.
You don't know.
You can enjoy your spring. You know what I'm saying?
And
it's hard to tell a 20-year-old, though, that they're not invincible and, play by the rules.
I think back when I was 20, and you really do think nothing can get you, nothing can stop you, but you find out soon enough that that's not the case.
Right. I know. I called my daughter because she's at Arkansas as everything was playing out at Notre Dame. I'm like, please tell me you are wearing your mask. Because they had sorority rush this week. I'm like, please follow the directions and play by the rules.
I don't know what I'd be more afraid of, COVID-19 or sorority rush.
Right? Yeah, I'm with you.
Sorority rush.
We probably don't want to know.
No. Well, fortunately, it was online this year, so it wasn't. It wasn't your typical rush. So on bid day, they actually got to go to their respective sorority house, but everything else this week was online. So, and my daughter kept saying, I feel so bad for the freshmen because they didn't get the experience. And I told her, well, you only feel bad because you know what they're missing. They don't know what they're missing. So they're happy to have the experience that they had. So
True.
it's all good.
Well, it's just, with fraternities and sororities, I've heard the horror stories about, their hell nights and all that. And a few stories from my brother, which I will not share on the show here.
Yeah,
just,
what happens at college stays at college.
Right.
well, you saw Revenge of the Nerds.
Right.
I hear that's really not too far off from the truth.
Probably not.
I'm sorry to make you scary about your daughter, Lisa. I'm not trying to do that.
It's all good. She's
what kind
a
of
junior. She's a pretty good kid, so I'm not worried.
Like what kind of shenanigans is she getting into down there?
Right.
So anyway, moving on to the next thing. It's and Ben, I don't know how you feel. Well, actually, I do know how you feel about this because we just did a show about it. Obviously, the Big 12 stepping in. I think it's safe to say they kind of saved the college football season.
Yeah, they really did.
Because we got essentially where it stands right now, the Power 5 has now become the Power 3. The Group of 5 has now become the Group of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it if that setup stays the same for the next 3 weeks and nothing else changes, nobody else backs out, I'm actually kind of excited in a way about how this season could go. Just because of the fact that you got 2 major conferences and 2 of the smaller ones done, which leaves a smaller playing field, which I think in turn means all these teams are going to be even more hungrier. You have the fact that for this season, we're in the ACC because of all the crap going down. So I guess what I'm getting at, as far as the postseason goes, could you guys see them, like the playoff committee and the bowl committee, doing any kind of experimentation here, like maybe, like expanding on the playoffs or something like that?
I think so.
Ladies first. We established this.
I know.
I think one of the things I'm most interested in, if you look at the SEC schedules, because I've looked at Arkansas's and Missouri's, but I mean, that SEC schedule is brutal, and they are going to beat each other up. So I think by the time they get to the postseason, everyone else is going to have a fair chance at really having an opportunity to beat an SEC school in a playoff, because they're going to be battered and bruised and wore out. So I think, I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to handle the playoffs. And I mean, I think this really is Notre Dame's year to shine and get at it.
So let's just say that SEC teams are going to have to play football this year, right? We talked about this, Ben, before all this came into the conversation.
Yes.
There's going to be no room on the schedule for that out of conference game. The cupcakes are off the schedule, and now you're going to be playing a power team. Yeah. And I think Alabama's going to be tested. I think them having to play a couple brutal teams, coming out of the gate is not going to be good for them. I think it's going to be an eye opener for everybody. I'll say it right now. I don't think Alabama makes the playoffs this year.
Wow.
That's a bold prediction.
That is very, very bold, George. But based on all that information, what you shared, I could actually see that happening because, I'd have to look their schedule up. But if you have all these teams that are so hungry, like even though LSU lost Joe Burrows, they're still going to be, I think, just as good as they were last year. You're going to have Georgia, who they're kind of a question mark, but you're going to have all these teams that are going to be gunning for them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Alabama and LSU always play each other well. I mean, doesn't matter the year, doesn't matter who they have behind them, quarterback-wise. I mean, every matchup the last, 10 years have been, 3-4 points each. So, I mean, you're going to have that fight right there, and like you guys said, you don't have anybody to really tune yourself up. Now, their opening game could be kind of a tune-up because they got Mizzou, and Mizzou's in
For
rebuild.
Arkansas.
So I mean that could be kind of a good first game for them. At least they're not playing like LSU first game, but still a Missouri team is way better than Chattanooga. So it's going to be very interesting. And also with the Big 12, they're playing everybody except one game is in the Big 12. So I mean, those high-powered offenses are going to go ballistic on each other. So it's going to be crazy.
Alabama does not have an easy starting schedule. Like you said, Mizzou, but then you got at home against Texas A&M, at Ole Miss, versus Georgia, at Tennessee, at Mississippi State, at LSU, and Auburn at home, and then Arkansas to wrap up the season.
Poor Arkansas.
Yeah,
They're going to be everybody's cupcake right there.
they're going to be the whooping post, because you know what's going to happen? Auburn goes into Alabama and wins that game at Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh.
That would get Gus Malzahn off the or no. I keep forgetting their coach's name now. It's who is their coach now?
They just hired a new guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
But yeah, I would get him kind of off and running if you could.
Yeah,
do
they
that.
hired the Georgia offensive coordinator, but I can't think of his name.
Oh, Sam Pittman.
Oh yeah, I think that is it. Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't been.
That's what's going to be. Alabama's got a bullseye on this year.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's like that for them every year. I mean, let's not, but yeah, it's going to be crazy. And what I think the craziest part is to think that we could have a team from the group of 5 or 3 now that could make the playoffs this year. And we've never had a group of 5 team make the playoffs. It's always been the Power Fives thus far.
Some crazy predictions with an 8-team playoff. I'm like, stop. There's not going to be 8 teams in a playoff. There's not going to be 16 playoffs. It's going to stick to the 4. They're not going to take a COVID year to go off track.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, with this year being a very unique year, I just always thought, like, hey, if there was a year to experiment, this would be the year to do it. But of course, I'm fine with staying with the 4-team format. But
Yeah.
with there being only 6 conferences, because let's see, you got the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Sun Belt, Conference USA, and American. That'd be some fun. I think that'd be some fun to play with right there. That's all.
Imagine the Sun Belt team making the 4.
That'd be interesting.
It would be 2020. I mean, come on, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, because Sun Belt, we're talking like, let's see, Appalachian State and
Troy,
Texas State. Who are some other ones? Is it Louis? Is it who are the Raging Cajuns?
University of Louisiana, Lafayette.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know there's just a regular University of Louisiana now.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if that's them or
University of Louisiana Monroe, so the Warhawks.
Okay. But all I know is, that would be funny as hell to see one of those teams in there.
Hey,
Yeah.
Appalachian State has beat that team to the north of here.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. I mean, and really, though, they ever since that victory, they have been on the up and up. And they could crash the party this year. I mean, they really could. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Louisville's current head coach was the head coach at Appalachian State before he took that Louisville job. And he got him in a good place. So you never know. I mean, like you said, it's 2020. It happened.
I don't want to mess up Sean's segment, but I'll hold off my comments on Louisville until we get into the ACC discussion.
Well, I didn't really have a segment. That was just a comment, a thought. That's it.
So I guess that I'll just take it there with the ACC and Louisville. Look at Louisville. Sean and I talked last week about Louisville, and game one they got Notre Dame out of the gate last year. Lisa was there; she remembers that game.
Yep.
It was a nail biter for a portion of the game, and then Notre Dame stepped up, and they executed after they changed. They made their proper adjustments. But Louisville, year two,
they're a dangerous team.
It's
they
watch out.
There are a lot of people that don't give them enough credit. They are a very dangerous team.
Well, there's a lot of dangerous teams in the ACC too.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Notre Dame's schedule is not. I mean, people can say what they want. It is not an easy one this year. I don't care what anybody says. It is not.
It's loaded with trap games.
North Carolina's a trap game. Yeah. BC's a trap game. Pittsburgh, historically, they have always given us fits. That defense that they throw at us has always been a pain in the ass. So, major trap game. I even consider Florida State a trap game, even though they're down. They're still Florida State. They can still bring it. So
Florida State's had good recruiting classes too. I mean, they have the talent there. They haven't been able to put it together in recent years, but their talent is there. So all it takes is, something in the water, and then they're off and run. I mean, so it is what it is.
Fortunately, there'll be no snow for the Florida State game this time.
Yeah, we just want snow for Clemson, right?
So there will be snow on the ground for Clemson, for sure.
Bring it.
Yeah. And speaking of that, have either of you guys heard about what they're going to do for the fan situation, if they're even letting anybody into the stadium?
I haven't heard anything concrete, but I don't see them letting fans in. I think that they're going to let in students, faculty. I've heard parents of students, and then maybe a select handful of season ticket holders. But I don't see your general fan getting into a game this year, And like I said, I don't know that for certain, but from hearing what other schools are doing, I don't see it.
Let's take it from another perspective, Lisa. We don't know what's going on with the media.
Right. Well, like I talked to my daughter yesterday at Arkansas, they're not even letting all the students into every home game. They're making the students sign up. Each student gets one game. So, I mean, that's even more restrictive than what I think is going to happen at Notre Dame. But I certainly don't see fans getting into a game or tailgating either.
Tailgating, yes.
Yeah, there are plenty of times where my family and I, we drive up, we wouldn't even have tickets or try to get in. We just go to tailgate.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think they're going to let visitors on campus. I mean, I think it's going to be something we've never seen before,
Yeah, so I guess all the games are just going to be in my brother's backyard and his TV, or down watching it with Ben.
Yeah.
Yep.
The projector on probably in the backyard, watching on the big screen.
There you go.
I don't really care. As long as we have football, I will happily sit on my couch and have a beer and watch football.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean, it's working fine with baseball and hockey right now with fans not in the stands. We still got the games. So, I mean, better than
complaints.
Yeah.
Well, I can complain about the Blues, but but no complaints about hockey.
I'm not going to be into the pumped-in fan noise. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the cardboard cutouts.
The poor teddy bear that took it in the face yesterday.
Yeah, the A's game, yes.
And he took it like a champ.
Right?
The next day. It was all good.
Speaking of the cardboard cutouts, I forget what stadium it was at, but did you guys – I think it might have been Dodger Stadium. They had a cardboard cutout of Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's.
I saw it.
That was awesome. That was funny.
Good. I mean, you might as well have a little fun with it, right?
Yeah. I think the crowd noise is more just to keep them used to it, because I know like Notre Dame in particular, they do like the whole week that they play, that they're going to play Southern Cal, they play that stupid fight song over and over and over again in practice. Those guys are used to it. So I think that's why they do that like fake crowd noise, is just so you just continuously have it.
Don't go there with crowd noise in Notre Dame. Don't do it. No. 1 week doesn't cut it. And last year when they went down to Georgia, right? You got to practice that every week. If you're that early in the schedule, you got to be practicing with that noise every single week. You can't practice it the last couple of days. It's got to be every single day.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do it, get it into practice now and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was bad memories, I know, but I remember the 2007 season. Charlie Weiss, the week before we went to play Penn State at Beaver Stadium. Didn't he just like blast Bon Jovi every practice or something like that?
Charlie Weiss on us?
Yes, I went there.
I've totally blocked that out of my memory. Sorry, I don't. Charlie who?
I can't even share my worst memory of Notre Dame football with you because it's not right, okay? But it involved Charlie Weiss, and UConn, okay?
Oh, you.
I was working overtime that game, and I had to listen to it on the radio, which made it even worse. So, in a way, I was going to say I'm glad I didn't have to actually watch it.
If there was a game that was going to get Charlie Weiss fired, it was going to be that game. And I said to a buddy of mine, we're both Notre Dame fans, I said, I hope that if they lose, Charlie Weiss is gone. So we'll just leave it there.
Well, I think
that was a tough day, folks. That was a tough. Because where's UConn now? UConn? Do you see UConn any place? They're not even playing football. They dropped out. They're the only team that seems to drop out of their conference.
Yeah, and I've heard they might even eliminate the football program from just various rumors I've heard.
Wow.
Affairs up there at East Hartford. Never mind Stores.
But that actually brings up an interesting point with UConn being an independent. Even though we have the 6 conferences still going, it makes you wonder what all the independents are going to do, because I don't think all of them have full schedules yet.
I think Notre Dame was lucky being able to be included in the ACC. We would have had a struggle trying to put a full schedule together. And I know so many people are so upset, including Desmond Howard made it very clear that he would have been thrilled to have Notre Dame left out. But, I think Notre Dame and the ACC are a great fit. We help them as much as they help us.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because another guy that Ben and I watch all the time, maybe you guys have watched him, too, but you guys ever watch John from Always Irish?
Mm-hmm.
He made a very interesting point on one of his recent episodes when he was talking about, for decades, everyone has always given Notre Dame crap for being independent. Oh, you're too scared to join a conference, this and that. Well, now you have teams from the Big Ten specifically wanting to go independent so they can play.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
I thought you guys were all dedicated to the conference and all that. To hell with independence. You're chicken if you do that.
Well, and all the people, Notre Dame's been taking all this NBC money, but yet when you do the math this year, we make more money with the ACC TV money than we did with the NBC contract.
Yeah, because I think the NBC deal pays us like $15 million a year.
Oh, I think it's more. Well, I think it's more than that, but it's still the ACC is still more money than the NBC was. So.
Yeah, so this was a genius move for us all around.
Super smart. Talking about making lemonade out of lemons, right?
Yeah. And also with that, and I'm kind of digressing here because I'm getting off the independent topic, but this is a once in a lifetime thing that we're lucky to see. Because how often do you get a chance to see, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but how often do you get a chance to see a team have a trial run with the conference?
Absolutely. It's the perfect storm for Notre Dame. Dip your toe in the water, and then if you don't like it, go thanks. Okay, see you around.
Yeah, exactly.
But from this perspective, you come into the conference, you're ranked number 2. You're not ranked 10, you're not ranked 6, you're ranked number 2.
Yeah.
You leapfrog the entire rest of the conference.
Yep.
There you are, right behind Clemson. So it's like Lisa said, it's the perfect storm.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you go by what's happened in recent years with the playoff, I mean, it's us and Clemson, and I think Florida State made it one year. That's it in the ACC. I mean, so you can say honestly that it's us and Clemson.
So it's interesting that you said that. Go ahead, Lisa.
No, I was going to say, I mean, that's totally perfect. They should be thrilled to have us in the conference, because they have two big hitters that will hopefully bring everybody else up.
ACC, they were quick to jump out there when they got the coaches poll, and we got 5 teams in the top 25.
Right, and that was my thing.
It's the good old beer hug, you know what I'm saying?
People are like, oh, the conference is so weak, and it's like, well, wait a second. If the conference is so weak, why do we have 5 teams from that conference in the top 25?
Yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah, and you got to go with it as it is now. I mean, Big Ten and Pac-12 are gone. So are the MAC and the Mountain West. So yeah, that conference got a lot stronger.
So what do we think?
I think it's going to be good for them.
Oh, it'll be great. It'll be really good. So staying kind of in that vicinity, what do you think about the USF ad?
I don't know. I haven't actually seen it. I mean, I looked at the website. They haven't actually added to the website.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So did that come from USF? Did that come from Notre Dame? How did that originate?
I first saw it on
Can I give you
One
guys
Goes
the
Down.
quote?
Go ahead, George.
Can I give you guys the quote?
Yeah.
Because it's very interesting, and one of the things that I try to pride on Shakedown the Thunder Sports on is that we talk in legitimate discussion. And well, here's the clip that I pulled off today from Tampa Bay affiliate of ABC. Now the Bulls are in talks with Notre Dame about a game on September 19th in South Bend. USF first-year head coach Jeff Scott can't comment on specifics, but he's happy to see the schedule is filling up. There's no official announcement.
Right.
It's talk. So there's nothing there to get excited about unless you're trying to talk about Charlie Weiss's son coming to Notre Dame or something like that. But guys, it's not official. It's not even the discussion about it is wasting your breath.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, it's a soapbox moment.
let's just assume it does happen. It does become official. I'll say this: payback is a bitch. Because I was at that 2011 matchup, and I went through the lightning delays, I should say, the hurricane rain, and my buddy from Ireland who was supposed to stop by, but it sounds like he's having some technical difficulties. He flew in for that, and it was funny as hell actually. When it was pouring down in the stands, he just sat there, and the ushers came out and said, "Sir, you got to get back into the concessions area." And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm from Ireland. I love this. I'm used to this weather."
This is perfect.
Yeah. So he's used to it. But then everything else happened. I'm like, really? We lost to these guys who had only been in FBS school for 3 years at that point.
Right.
So
yeah, there were some painful games back then with USF and Tulsa and a bunch of things I've tried to wipe out of my memory. So,
Texas opening day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least that was a hard-fought game, though. I'll give them that. But yeah, I just what was one bad? Northwestern 2014, even not the same year, but that was a bad one for me. It's like, Brian, just kneel on the ball. and then those guys, then the Northwestern, after they win, I'm going to clean up my language from what I said when that first happened, but they're holding up a bunch of fast food bags like it's the freaking Lombardi Trophy.
Right.
And I was like, really? these are the guys that we just lost to.
Right. Fantastic.
But something I wanted to finish up real quick, going back to the independent teams that are still playing. What I'm surprised at, and I don't know if this is the Big 12's resistance or Brigham Young's resistance, whatever, but I would have thought that for this year only, Brigham Young would have been a good fit in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think that would have been a great fit. It's interesting that they're not really cooperating. You would think we should be trying to get as many teams playing as we possibly can.
Yeah, and even with another team in there like Army, I thought a good fit for them would just to be playing Conference USA, since Conference USA had a slot open up with Old Dominion canceling.
Mm-hmm.
But
It would have been awesome if Notre Dame played Army.
See, that was what I was hoping could be like our filler game, because we have a good history with them, and it's a good replacement for Navy, and they're about the same style that we would deal with. So, and I mean, we owe it to the military academies, so who knows? I mean, it could happen. You never know. I mean, there's so much talks behind the scenes, and we're not privy to that information. You never know. I mean, they could pull a fast one and be like, hey, we're playing Army. I don't know. We'll see.
We heard it here first.
yeah,
Right?
A lot of firsts here tonight.
yeah, the entire one person that's watching us right now, they heard some groundbreaking news. Yeah, and
By the way,
Jerry
Lisa just picked up the Army book today. She had one of her biggest finds was the Notre
I
Dame
know.
Army game book.
I found a great Notre Dame book doing a little thrifting today, so I'm very excited.
nice.
Great. That was a great transition. That was awesome.
You just never know what you're going to find when you dig through other people's stuff, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you guys froze on me there for a second. But
Oh,
you're
I was
back
wondering
now.
what's going on.
But,
I'm like, Sean, you
You're
there?
a couple seconds
But,
behind. You're a couple seconds behind your audio.
Oh, I am?
Yep.
Oh, well, I actually was talking to my brother about that last night, and he thinks what might help that is a better webcam.
Oh, I think you caught up now. You're good.
Oh,
Yes, you did.
Oh. Okay, well, still, I want to get a better webcam anyway. But real quick, Jerry, if you're watching, dude, I don't know what's up, but your devices. It says I can't connect you if your devices aren't connected, dude.
What's best about StreamYard is if you try to connect by phone, you can't. You got to use a laptop.
Oh, he has a tablet.
Yeah, it might be the same thing. Who knows?
He's commenting in the private chat section. It says browser is blocking. Cam and Mike, what do I do? Jesus, saints pray for me. I'm a gobshite tech-wise.
That's a new word. I'm going to write that down. Gobshite.
Right?
Yeah.
I can look up the definition, and we got to use it in our next article.
Yeah. I think a gobshite is basically saying asshole. I think.
I don't know.
But yeah.
Pray for me.
Yeah, Jerry. Yeah, dude. I don't know what the deal is, but it won't let me add you. It says there's something wrong with your technology. But you gotta have your camera working and your webcam on your tablet or whatever.
The hamsters more.
Right.
So I don't know. Technology screws with all of us from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
I did a webcast with Lisa a couple weeks ago, and there was a point in the video I went completely white. I mean, I was like completely shattered.
It's just me. I'm like, hello.
That's awesome.
So, how you doing?
I love technology.
Had a body experience, huh?
Well, this microphone that I just bought, apparently I can make my voice sound all funny and sound like a hamster, sound like know.
Do that for the Halloween special.
Oh, speaking of which, Ben, I wanted to ask you about that. Might as well discuss it now. We got to pick out costumes for that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing that show wearing costumes, buddy. You better count on that. But
I own a haunted house. I got a whole closet full of that.
well, you see, myself, I don't just stick with regular like Halloween monsters like ghosts, werewolf, and stuff. My specialty is usually wrestlers, like old professional wrestlers. Like I went on here as the Ultimate Warrior one year.
You did Hulk Hogan another year, didn't you?
Not on YouTube.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else then. Huh.
Well,
I got one for Ben. George the Animal Steel.
Yes. And you gotta paint, make your tongue green too.
Yeah.
And
Jolly Ranchers or something for that one then.
Jolly Ranchers, and then get a big old turnbuckle to bite into.
Yeah.
But I think this year I was gonna try Macho Man. Oh yeah, get the funky monkey. Yeah, I think the Irish are gonna take the ACG title. Dig it.
With the hands.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
Halloween
going off
great.
the deep end.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're down to 0 viewers now, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, we have fun on here too. It's not all super serious stuff. We laugh, we joke, and just bullshit with one another. That's what the point is. But I guess
sports.
Yes. But I guess to get back to everything, this year for us being the ACC, definitely have a chance to pull one of the biggest troll jobs ever.
Oh, of course.
Because here's the thing. Look, and I'm not jumping the gun here, but if we lose to Clemson in the regular season and we go 9-1 in ACC play, okay, I don't think anybody's going to really be surprised that we lost to Clemson.
No.
But of course, I'd rather we go undefeated, absolutely. But I'm saying, what if? But if we have anything in addition to that loss to Clemson and we get picked off by like a Pittsburgh or a Boston College, North Carolina, whatever, oh boy. If we don't hear it enough from all the haters already who like to, start with the conference crap and you should join a conference, this and that is only going to intensify.
Of course.
So
Can you just imagine if we come into the ACC, go undefeated, conference champions, drop mic and go, thanks, it's been real, and walk away.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
I love all the
It's been
memes.
real.
I love all the memes that it's like Notre Dame is here to F things up. Yep, we're here. We're here to just destroy everything. Like, this is it. Go big or go home. Like, I want to see how many things we can totally mess up this year.
Right.
We're taking the trophy and we're going back to South Bend with it.
Yep.
And that's it, folks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And like I was saying, I think that there's probably a huge chip on a lot of those guys' shoulders because they're already hearing it. They're already hearing, you're not going to make it, and Clemson's going to win the whole thing. And, look what you guys do. You're independent. You can't deal with an actual, conference schedule. So those guys are out to prove a lot of people wrong, and that's huge fire for them. I mean, so those guys, to me, if it was me, it's go time.
And we have such a great leader in Ian Book. I mean, I can't think of anyone else at this point that I'd want to have at the helm, right? He's experienced, he's mature, he's ready to go. Like, those guys are ready to get at it. They just want to play football.
Yeah.
You were there. You and I were down in Dallas for the playoff game. And that locker room afterwards, I mean, you saw the emotion in that locker room.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was something that, you're going to walk in there and they're going to be crushed, but I wasn't totally prepared for the emotion in there. And I mean, they hold on to that And all you have to do is every week dig in and remember that feeling and then go out and crush it, and this is the perfect year. If you look at that schedule, all of that is beatable. I mean, Clemson is definitely a challenge, but you have a November 7 game in South Bend. Like, that's the perfect storm, right? That you have a really cold, frigid day and those Clemson boys come in. I mean, this is the year that Notre Dame needs to get at it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And a month later, if you lose to Clemson,
Get them again.
you have that chance to go down to Charlotte, okay? If that's your only loss of the season, you're going in against Clemson into that championship game and be like the New York Giants did to the Patriots, right? It's great. You guys could beat us at the last game of the season, but we're winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. And let's not forget, the last time that the Irish went to Charlotte in another sport, it was magic. I mean, back-to-back wins over Duke and North Carolina in Charlotte to win the ACC tournament in basketball was magical. So the football team could do that too.
Oh, absolutely. And also,
absolutely magic.
and something else. This same thing actually happened a couple of years ago, or actually, I forget what year it was, but it was Oklahoma in the Big 12. Because they did that exact same thing where they avenged their only loss of the season, which was to Texas. They come and beat them in the Big 12 championship. They get that final playoff spot. So it's happened before.
Yeah.
Guys have the focus. The team last year had focus, but they had a slip along the way.
Yeah.
Georgia, I'm not going to say mentally not prepared to play Georgia. The noise was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the noise factor contributed to that game because I think always one or two more plays, right? Notre Dame wins that game. You got to play 16 minutes.
Yep.
But if that game goes differently,
right.
Notre Dame, I think, goes undefeated that season.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you got to deal with picking yourself up by the straps and getting back into it. And we don't know what happened in the locker room either. I mean, from an outside looking in, media guy, something went on. I mean, when we were down at what the heck game was that? When we were up at Michigan, that game was so polarizing. Something happened where it seemed like the chemistry just fell apart. Right. Something happened in that locker room. And a change was made after that game because that was totally different. And so
because it was more than just weather that happened at Michigan, for sure.
It was a flat. I mean, it's like when you park your car in the garage, you don't drive it for 2 weeks. You get that flat spot in your tire. That's what it was. It wasn't the team that played the week before.
No.
So something happened that week that upset the chemistry of that team. And from after that game, when I think that the kind of changes went back, changes happened on the offensive coordinator side of things, okay, I think, as we talked in the past, I think Tommy Rees was running the offense after the Michigan game as kind of as a test ride that team had mojo again.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they responded so well to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that this team needs to pick up where they were at the end of the game against Clemson down in Dallas. And they need to say, guys, we still have a foundational team here. We still have the folks. We still have the seeds in the ground. They're growing. Now we need some miracle grow, and we're going to win this.
Let's finish what we started.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're talking about the chemistry. And see, this year is going to be unique because what happens with COVID? If a guy gets sick and then you lose a star player for 2 weeks, if you lose them in key week, how does that affect your season? And Notre Dame's not the only team that's got to worry about that. Alabama's got to worry about that. LSU's got to worry about that. Clemson's got to worry about this. So
Clemson's doing the herding thing. They're doing the herd.
I know.
COVID herd thing. So,
but I mean, like you said, the chemistry aspect. if you lose a guy and then all of a sudden that's your vocal leader and then he's not there.
Next man in, you better be ready.
Right. I mean, that's what you got to do. So it'll be interesting.
I'm just ready for football.
The thing that's been piquing my curiosity, especially we're talking Notre Dame sports, is the fact that the NCAA opens up this red shirt policy that says if you want to step aside for a year, we're going to allow you to do it, okay? Yeah. How many guys on other teams have taken that step and said, I'm not going to play? How many guys on Notre Dame having that opportunity and they can do it haven't done it? That goes to say something for the grit of this team.
Oh, of course. Big time.
Well, because if you watch other schools and some pretty big players stepping down for a year, that makes the opportunity even better for Notre Dame to get in there and get it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Like Moses parting the sea, it's leading the way. We've taken the boundary, we've taken what bounds you away, and we're giving you this road to take.
Right.
And guys, I didn't mean to just slip away from the conversation there, but to anybody who's watching, I fixed the comment problem. So if you have a comment to leave, go ahead and leave it. Because I accidentally disabled comments and I didn't mean to. That was a change I forgot to make.
That's the best thing about StreamYard. You can get actually fan interaction.
Yeah. Well, that's what we did. That's what we did this for, was to get people to actually communicate with us, and we got 3 watching so far. So I mean,
rock on.
Yeah, say something, guys, if you're watching. Type it in the comments, because I had no idea that the comments were turned off. So that was my screw up. But yeah, and with the season, that was something I wanted to add before. Like the injuries that we have right now, I know Kevin Austin is one, which that does hurt a little bit. But I'm not overly worried about that because there's so much depth behind him, I think.
Yeah, I'm not worried very much either. This team is pretty robust, so I mean, you're going to have you'll have some injuries along the way, so you're going to have everyone ready.
Yeah. And I think can you guys hear the phone ringing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my buddy from Ireland calling. Let me bring him on. How's it going, Jerry? Can you guys hear him all right?
No.
Anything. Nothing.
Leprechauns don't cause havoc. Those are gremlins.
All right. Jerry, say something again. Nothing?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Nope.
Bummer.
Yeah. Sorry, Jerry. I'm the only one that can hear you. Yeah, unfortunately.
So, who do you think will be the biggest breakout player for Notre Dame this year?
Yeah.
Go for it, George.
Oh, you go, Lisa. You go.
No, you go first.
I think Kyle Hamilton.
I think so.
I was sitting here just thinking about who at the end of last year was just coming into their own, and I think Kyle Hamilton's going to play a big role on defense. He's a big, lanky kid. They liked his swagger last year during the fall ball stuff, Culver, and then back at Notre Dame. The kid carried around a notebook every practice, and I can remember the coaching staff saying, I don't remember ever seeing a kid carrying a notebook around campus with football notes on it. So I'm going to go Kyle Hamilton.
I haven't really been following practice too close, so I don't really have anyone right now that I'm going to predict. So
okay,
I'm going neutral.
Yeah, I'm here for Kyron Williams. I'm hearing a lot of like this dude's the next guy for us running wise. So I'm excited. I love when they start really hyping up because it gives them that not ego boost, but that boost that they kind of need. So if he can, step in, have a good big role, and something happens, we got him. And then
that'd be awesome. He's a St. Louis kid, so I watched him a lot in high school. So yeah, I would be super excited to see him do well. His mom and I are pretty good friends, so I'm definitely rooting for him. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, my apologies, guys. Jerry was trying to really do everything in his power to get on to talk to us, but it doesn't look like that's happening. So I apologize for the interruptions, and Jerry, I'm sorry, but we'll definitely try it another time, dude.
Just around.
And we got our first comment. ND Football #1 says, "Go Irish." Thank you for joining us, dude.
Nice.
Any questions, comments you have for us? And I know for a fact there's a delay on these with us and the viewers, so.
So what are your guys? Let's turn the tables here. Let's go around and why don't we talk about what we think our predictions are and why?
Oh, you mean like seasons, like record wise?
Yeah.
Well, mine's easy. I never predict us to lose, so I'm going to say undefeated, go all the way. I can't break that just because I'm doing another show.
Right. I think we could very well go undefeated. Now, the easy games are the ones that you can't look past, though. You know what you're getting in Clemson. You know what you're getting when you go to play Boston College. We know that whole situation. But these other smaller teams, and I'm not saying like Boston College is a huge team, but rivalry aspect, they could bite you, so, and Notre Dame has a problem with playing down to opponents as opposed to just putting their foot on their throat and going for the kill. So I say undefeated, but you have to do everything in your power not to play down to your opponents this year.
Yeah, they definitely have to remain focused because it's going to be too easy to be looking forward toward Clemson and trip along the way. So, I mean, I'm with you guys. I think this is the year to go undefeated. Like, this is the year. I think Clemson at home in November, if we get a nice, snowy, sleeting, disgusting game, we could totally beat Clemson and then take the conference. And this is it, right? Like, let's totally make 2020 into something truly memorable that we can celebrate as we move out of this year.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we go 12-0 as well. I think if we do slip, it's going to be against Clemson. But I think that they go on to beat Clemson in the ACC championship. I think that's where the chip on the shoulder is. I believe in this team. And Sean, I use those exact same words that you used. If I don't believe in my team to go 12-0, why am I writing about them? Why am I following them?
Exactly.
Why set them up for failure? These guys listen to what people say. If people would turn around, and this is where Lisa and I first met on this whole topic. If people would if they listen to what these people say, they're not going to go out and try. They love this university. They say they love the fan, but they don't get it, and they don't get it in return from some of the fans. I'm not going to say all the fans. There's some fans out there that don't return the love. Right. You gotta give them that hope. They feed off of it. I think if we can pull it all together, 12-0 season, win the ACC championship, and then you're on to, if there's a playoff series, that they're off to the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what? The majority of the fans, George, like you said, they do love this team and they do go all out for them. But I got to mention this because it can't be said enough. That Georgia game in 2017 really disappointed the hell out of me. I know I sound like a broken record. Glenn's been hearing me talking about this since then, but that was a disgrace.
Yeah, I mean,
that game.
Well, it was reminiscent of when Nebraska came to town, and there was so much red in the stadium then too. So,
well, and the thing is, when I was down, and I didn't go into the stadium, but when I was down in Georgia for that game last year, and the only place I saw Notre Dame fans in that stadium was where they're supposed to be, in the visitor section. The rest was all Georgia, all red and black. The fact that so many in our fan base, and I'm not trying to criticize Notre Dame fans, but that one particular game I do, because that was an embarrassment. How do you sell your team out like that? And for what, a couple $1,000? I mean, come on, let's face it, the majority of alumni and people who cheer for this team, $1,000 is toilet paper.
That sparked some controversy, actually, because there was folks who call them in the leather seats that gave up their tickets. And they knew, the university knew who gave up those tickets.
Oh, I hope they took their tickets away, honestly.
I don't know what the end result was. The only thing I knew is conversations I had is that the university was a little upset to see those tickets sold.
Yeah.
Right, because you want to see the support of your fan base. You can't have some bandwagon fan base that's dumping tickets off to make a little cash. That's not okay.
And that's I think one of the problems. What's kind of affected us for the last 15 or so years, give or take, maybe a little longer than that, is you could argue that maybe down south in SEC country, maybe they take their football a little too serious, which is a fair argument. But that's kind of what's hurt us, is our fan base has kind of lost that diehard mentality.
Right.
I mean, you will never see any of those teams down south selling out letting their stadium get taken over.
If you want to play with the big boys, if you want to be on the same level as Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State when they're on their good years, because they've won a national title in the last 10 years in the new college playoff system, those fan bases would never let something like that happen. I'm sorry. So you can say, like, okay, well, we need to be an elite team. Okay, well, then we need to be an elite fan base too, because you need to have that hostile environment. When a team comes into your place to play you, you need to be against them. You need to be that quote-unquote 12th man on the field. And we're not doing that when we're playing the Georgias of the world, the Alabamas of the world, because we're selling our tickets out to these rival fan bases.
Tell you, my first game in the press box was Michigan at home. Okay? That was I was like sitting in the press box. I'm like, is it like, I hope it's like this every game.
Right.
It wasn't. It was so loud in that press box. It was crazy noise in the press box from the fans in that game. That's what they need every single game.
Yeah.
The fans all will complain about people standing, people sitting, or people not making noise, but it's got to be a one voice.
Right.
And when you start selling those tickets, it's not. So
for 4
you
hours,
got to be all in.
Okay with people standing, right? Like it's 4 hours. Come on, let's get in there, have a good time, stand up, cheer for our team. I'm sorry. If you want to sit the whole game, you can sit at home on your couch.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't a golf tournament. This isn't the Masters where you have to make one.
Well, and like you said, Sean, think of the money aspect of it too. Okay, like for me, I get to go to like one game sports-wise per team a year. I don't get to go to every game because I'm the average Joe. So if I'm going to a game like that, I am going to get my money's worth, and I'm standing and I'm having a good time. Period.
No,
it's got to be loud.
It has to be. I mean, this year's different because it's COVID and all that. But when we return to normalcy, that's what has to happen. I mean, there has to be accountability, in fan base, not just with the team needs to do better. Okay, well,
support
elite fan base.
Yep.
Well, and one argument that I heard, I forget who it was from, but because I've argued with many different fans on this, and it's funny. I'm willing to bet that those people who sold their tickets are the same ones that go onto the message boards and the comment sections and complain about the team not doing well. Ironically, but I digress. But one argument I heard was each of those seasons, Nebraska in 2000, Georgia in 2017, both those seasons we were coming off losing seasons. And the argument from this person was like, oh, well, the fans are saying that the team's got to prove them something. Bullshit.
Oh,
if that's your team, you go support them.
right. Okay.
Right,
Do you
because
think
the year before has no indication as how you're going to do the next year.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
how many times do you see a full stadium in Cleveland in the snow when they're 1-15? I mean, you're going to talk about, they weren't doing well the year before, or they weren't doing well this year. That's crap. That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry. And look at like Nebraska's sellout streak for their stadium. I mean, you think every year has been a 12-0 season for them? No. And they're selling out their stadium every week. And not just selling out their stadium, but their stadium is their colors, period. I mean,
you win with the team, you lose with your team. You take the lumps, you take the good, you take the bad, right? You can't live life vicariously through these kids.
no.
No, we're not experts.
Of course not.
We write on what happens and fact and some opinion, but you just can't say they owe me a championship.
No.
They owe themselves 4 years of college, maybe 5 if they're lucky to get offered a 5th year, okay, of education from the University of Notre Dame. First and foremost, football for them becomes an audition for the job in the future.
Right.
So it's just brutal when these kids are put under the microscope, and that's what they are, kids.
Yeah.
No, it goes back to the beginning of the show. We talked about them trying to make the right decisions. You have adults who are fans that aren't making the right decisions.
Right.
So what's going on?
Right. Well,
I don't
like
it's,
at least
it's screwed up.
I mean, Lisa can tell you how hard it is to be a student at Notre Dame. I mean, and that's on top of being a student athlete. I mean, these guys are not the typical student athlete that, plays football and that's their thing. You're expected to go to class. You're expected to do X, Y, and Z academics wise. It's not, you get a pass. And I mean, we joke around every year. You can tell what week is midterms because that's the week that Notre Dame struggles in football. I mean, so.
but that's the priority, right? That's why you're a student athlete. You're a student first, because you could get injured next Saturday and never play another game, but you still have that Notre Dame education that takes you for the next 40 years. And that's what the importance is, because you never know when it's going to be your last game because you tear your knee or whatever, be a John Foley and broke his neck in college. But Notre Dame kept his scholarship and, he's on Wall Street now. So that 4 years gave him the next 40.
Yeah.
Every guy is going to make the NFL, though Notre Dame does lead the way of getting players into the NFL.
Yes.
Okay. Not every player gets in. So now you got to rely on that education. Lisa, how many guys have we talked to, that, they're beyond, they're not playing sports anymore. And these guys they're geniuses, right? They're running very good businesses.
And they're thriving based on an education that they got and got to play a little football. Yeah.
And they're teaching the next generation of players.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, George, because even as just regular fans, we should be doing that same thing as well, supporting them not only on the field but off the field. And when you're, what's a good way to put it? Like not just selling out your tickets, but like what you said earlier about trying to win a championship or whatever, or live through these kids. You can't be doing that.
No.
Because you should just be encouraging them in life as well as football and setting that example.
As I talked with Clinton Johnson today, There's football in 2020, and there was football back in the late 80s, early 90s. Coaching's different. Players are different. Everything's different about sports. It's getting to the point where you can't compare a team that played in the 80s and won national championship, right, to a team in 2020 that's been close but just can't get over the hump.
Right.
It's not the same anymore. And if you're going to bury your head in the sand, go someplace else.
Yes. And it's funny that you say that, because I talked, and when I say talked loosely, I had a back and forth with Brian Driscoll, and it was a good back and forth. It wasn't a bad. And, he was talking about how you can't compare this and that, and you can't. There are so many factors that go into play, and it drives me as a fan, not just of Notre Dame, but other teams, crazy when people say, well, what if that blah, blah, blah big name player played for this team? Could you imagine what that team would be like? Well, okay, flip it around, though. Not every big name player can play for every program. I'm sorry. I mean, there are so many things that go into play, and I've seen it with example-wise where there's a big name player, he goes to a different team, and then he's average to below average.
So you can have a 5-star recruit come in and do great things. You can have another 5-star guy comes in, and it's a complete failure of the system, right? Because he's not big man on campus. Right. Football at the college level moves at a different pace than the high school level, and same when you transition from college to professional.
Are we talking?
You're not big man on campus anymore. You're now the smallest guy in the pond, and they're all gunning for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't say a 5-star guy is going to do you great. Who's been some of our best players? The 3-star recruits. Oh, hold on. How about Chris Frink as a walk-up?
Yeah.
Yeah. He basically he goes up for that touchdown in the end zone against Michigan.
Right. And I mean, and with what you're saying, look at how many guys are just absolute monsters and to come out of nowhere too in college and then move on to pros and they don't do anything. Or vice versa. There are guys that were average in pro or college that got into the pros, made a name for themselves, and all of a sudden they're huge. I mean, people forget Joe Montana wasn't a superstar at Notre Dame. He was a superstar in the NFL.
Third-string quarterback.
I mean, huh?
Right? He was a third-string quarterback before he came in that game.
I mean, so like you said, factors, program, all that. I mean,
the mindset. If there's one thing I get, and Lisa, you get this from all your books, and I talk to those guys as well, what it comes down to is these guys' mindset. They have a championship mentality. If our guys they have a championship mentality, but if they kick it up just a little bit, there's nothing that's going to stop them. They have to believe it themselves, but they got to believe it coming from the fan base.
Absolutely. It's not taking no, right? When you get that no, you try harder, right?
Yeah.
So here's the perfect example. I'm talking to Lisa about doing certain things, and she's like, you just got to ask. The answer is no until you ask.
Yeah. And
in their case, it's no until you give it your all and you succeed.
Right. How's that quote go? Everything is actually physically impossible until it's not. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Once it's funny, maybe this is kind of off topic a little bit, but it's funny that you guys brought up Joe Montana earlier, because this goes back to, how guys might play for a certain team. Well, I'll keep this short, and I use this example with Ben in an episode we did not too long ago. 1979, when the Chicago Bears were on the clock in the third round, they were turning in their card to make their pick. They took it back, scratched the name off, replaced it with another one. They make their pick. Who they ended up picking was a backup running back to get some depth behind Walter Payton. Well, you know whose name they scratched off the card? Joe Montana.
Oh, man.
Now, here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. My point is this. If Joe Montana went to the Chicago Bears at that point in time where they were strictly run, would he be the Joe Montana that we know him as now?
He'd be
Probably
bound
not.
by a system. Bound by a system.
Yeah, because let's see, their coach at the time for the Bears was Neil Armstrong, and that team, from what I remember watching from the '85 Bears 30 for 30, was just in shambles. So there's no way that Joe Montana would have succeeded under him. I mean, Bill Walsh was the perfect fit for him.
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't. For any changes for that team to be made, I'm not trying to just make this a Bears talk here, but it took put it this way, it took Jim McMahon going over Mike Ditka's head to make changes. So yeah, I think it's safe to say Joe Montana would not have fit in there pretty well.
No.
Refrigerator Perry in the Super Bowl shuffle.
I'm Cool Cat Joe, and I don't know. I'll think of some lyrics and I'll sing it on a future episode.
Good Lord.
But yeah, so
TV, right?
yeah, yes, but yeah, that's the point. Is like, at any level, it just goes to show that not all guys are a perfect fit everywhere.
No
matter how high of a draft pick, in the example I gave, or how many stars they have next to their name, they're not guaranteed to succeed.
Yeah. I mean, I just roll my eyes when I see comments. I do. It is what it is. But
okay, yeah. My buddy Jerry is now commenting in the comment section, and he really wanted to come on and talk to us, but it's just he wants me to. He says, Sean, tell them the time I met Joe in Chicago's O'Hare Airport in the toilets. I don't think you were.
Can you use the words that they use over there, like the washroom, please?
Yeah. Jerry, I don't remember you telling me the story. You met Joe Montana at O'Hare Airport? Yeah.
Oh boy.
Jeez, I hate where this is going.
Yep, this show is going down fast.
I mean, what? I'm at a point where I'm speechless because I really do not remember Jerry telling me the story that he met Joe Montana in a bathroom at O'Hare Airport.
See, now you have something to look forward when you bring him on the show, right?
Yes.
Got to investigate.
Well, we had Jerry on once already. He was actually the episode before you, Lisa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think you were our third episode. He was on the second episode.
yeah, I think that's right. Man, it's been a long time since then.
But yeah, we were just getting going then, and we were looking at on anybody that we could to just get things rolling. But if I ever get a chance to have this guy on the show, you guys would love him. He's a riot.
I can't even say what he's saying.
Oh, you can't see the comments?
Oh no, I can see what he's saying. I just can't repeat it.
Oh. Okay. Yes, I just came out of the Jacks, and I was walking out, and I met him. Told him about raising the flag at Notre Dame. Which, okay, yeah, we did do that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He got permission. From to do the flag of Ireland. Yeah, it was really cool.
Awesome.
Well, him and I did a video on this on my other channel, and I'll send you guys the link later. But Jerry, this is how I first met him. I was just doing my thing on YouTube on my own channel. This guy shows up out of nowhere saying that he's an actual Irishman from Ireland who loves Notre Dame football, and he sent me like a 6-paragraph personal message telling me who he is, and he's like, I want to raise the I want to raise the Irish tricolor at Notre Dame. I want to I want to make that happen. I'm like, whoa, dude. My name is Sean. What's yours? And so long story short,
like head of the university either. It's not like oh yeah, it's fine by me. We'll just go do it.
Yeah, and so he actually called Michael Danch of Notre Dame. I forget his exact role, like vice president of something with the sports department. I think, I don't know, or somewhere up there with Father Jenkins. I forget it again. I forget, but he writes him this message, and Michael Danch tells him, yes, we'll raise the tricolor on the flagpoles outside the stadium. And they did that for Jerry. Jerry presented him a nice a little bronze statue. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
I need you to find out where Shamrock Jerry is from.
Where's he from?
Yeah. We're in Ireland.
What county?
Dublin.
Yeah.
Dublin.
Dublin. Okay. Because I have relatives that go back to Ireland as well. The name escapes me at the moment. So.
Well, my family, we came here to America from County Kerry, so all the way southwest of the island. We're Dingle people. But
next.
not that kind of Dingle.
This is a great place to stop the episode.
That would be
right.
Okay, since we went there, that would be Dingleberry, George. that you're trying to, pervert everybody's mind with. Dingle is just the name of the city. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said like Kringle.
Oh, okay, yeah, Kris Kringle, Santa Claus.
Yeah. I think we covered everything in this episode. I really do. We have hit.
This was awesome.
Every big name topic that we can hit. Everything's still up in the air. We still don't quite know. I heard that they practiced. They went back to practice. I heard that. So I got
pictures. I see video.
That's a very good step in the right direction for everything.
Yeah.
But it was an absolute blast having Lisa and George both on for this panel discussion, quote unquote panel discussion. That's all I got, guys.
Thank you for having us. This was a blast.
Yeah, and it was really great to do this live on such last minute too. I mean,
oh yeah,
it was literally like 3:30 this afternoon that I discovered that we could go live on this channel, and I found all that out.
Yeah.
So
what I did with Ben when I found out we were talking about schedules and stuff, I called around. Lisa couldn't come on. I called Ben. Are you available? He's like, yeah. So, I get, the whole going live really quick thing because you gotta take advantage of it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, perfect.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If I found out that we could have gone live this whole time since we started this show.
No, we couldn't though. I know that for a fact.
Oh, we couldn't?
No.
Okay, then something must have just recently changed then because, I always thought you had to have a certain number of subscribers, like 500 or so, which obviously Ben and I don't. We're still working on that.
Yeah.
Baby steps. You'll get there.
But all I know is of the 70 subscribers that we do have, they are very loyal, and we appreciate them very much for supporting us. But yeah, George, Lisa, it was an absolute blast having you guys on. Hopefully we can have you guys on more again in the future.
Sounds good.
I absolutely think that's an absolute possibility. And what I'm going to like to do is to have you guys on my show. And we'll do the exact same thing. We'll do the whole four square, and, it works. I mean, this was fun. I completely forgot about COVID stuff. I completely forgot that I had work tomorrow on a multi-million-dollar problem that I'm working on. I escaped for an hour and a half when we talked sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I forget that I don't have to wake up at 10 after 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Until I said
that's it, guys. I mean, it's been an absolute blast. Couldn't have asked for a better discussion. Couldn't, have spent my time better. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Couldn't have asked for better people to join us either.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, in the time we've known you guys, it's been awesome, and that's definitely a positive thing about the internet is knowing that there are other good people out there, not just the bad that you see on the internet.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, all right. On that note, everyone, thank you again, George and Lisa, for joining us. I'm ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you always get a notification when we go either live or put up a new video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
God bless everyone.